Okay, welcome to the Dublin Academy of Maths again. And my name is Michael Dalton and I'm doing Leaving Cert Ordinary Level Maths Series 3 Episode 2, and the series is based on Calculus Paper 1. Right, now here's a few questions here. Differentiate with respect to x. Okay, find the slope when x is equal to 1. Now I'll explain this to you. Okay, you won't be using first principles here, you'll be using it by rule. There's the rule. The rule is on page 41 in your maths tables. I'm going to do a few questions now to show you how to get through them, and I'll come back to the rest of this. Okay, now this is the rule. When y is equal to the function x of n, x to the power of n, dy dx is equal to n times x to the power of n minus 1. And it's the same rule again. If you have a constant here, you just multiply by the n by the constant, and it's the same. Okay, it's on paper 1. It's on log tables page 41. Now remember, this indices and certs which we're going to do is in series 1. Log tables page 41 for this formula in the top left hand corner. I'll just get it out now so I can show you. 41 is at the back, and you see it there, 41, and the function here derives the function n to the power of n times x to the power of n minus 1. Okay. Now today we're just going to do a few questions, and we'll follow this format here. We'll do the questions on. So there's two types of, don't forget, plenty of questions, do those questions. There's two types of calculus, and they're both the same. One is by rule and the other one is by first principles. Now if you get one by rule, the rule as I've just done to you is n to the power of n times x to the power of n minus 1. So I'm going to do a few. So if y is equal to 2x squared minus 3x plus 4, okay, multiply by the power and reduce the power by 1, and the constant, okay, so it's 2 2's are 4, I'll just write that out. 2 times 2x power 2 minus 1 times 3x to the power 1 minus 1, and we've got 0 for constant. Constant is always 0. Okay, so remember that, constant is 0. This goes to 0. So we've just multiplied them out again. Dy dx, that should be dy dx, because that is its formula, is equal to 4x minus 3x to the power of 0. 1 minus 1 is 0, anything to the power of 0 is 1. So it's 3 times 1, which is 3. Okay? So the answer is 4x minus 3. Right, that was pretty simple. So the same formula applies. That formula was the a was in there. So multiply by the a. Do you understand? Okay. Question 2. Y is equal to the root x. So we have to change this into indice form. Y is equal to x to the power of a half. Okay, that's an indice rule. And dy dx is equal to, follow the formula, half times x to the power of a half minus 1 is equal to a half x to the power of minus a half. Okay, is equal to 1 over twice x to the power of a half, which is equal to 1 over 2 times root x. Okay, so you see that the power becomes the root sign. Okay, that's the square root. Okay, and now say for example you are saying, so what are you actually doing here? Well, you're finding the slope at a point, you're finding the general slope here for this function, for any of those, for this function or that function, because it's expressed differently, expressed the same but differently. So what I'm saying, so if you have a point 4, 1, and you want to put it into this equation to find the slope, well, you've done dy dx, so you put it into the formula 1 over 2 times root x. Okay, so x is equal to 4, that implies that 2 times root 4 is equal to 1 over 2 times 2, which is equal to a quarter. Now what does that mean? It means the slope of this at that point is equal to a quarter. Okay, so in other words, you're finding the slope of a function using Newton's theory of calculus, dy dx. So the slope of that point, 40, is a quarter. Let's try another one. Y is equal to 1 over x squared. To bring that up, y is equal to x to the power of minus 2. dy dx is equal to, multiply by the power, reduce the power by 1, minus 2 times x minus 2 minus 1 is equal to minus 2 times x to the power of minus 3. Bring it down. So now the minus 2, do you see where the minus 2 is on top? Okay, it's not a half or anything, so it's been minus 2 over x to the power of 3. Okay, so that's the solution to that. There's nothing else you can do with it if you put a point in. So that's the resulting formula for the slope of this point of this curve at any given point. So if I have the point, say 2, 1, I only put in 2 for x. That's equal to minus 2 over 2 cubed, which is equal to minus 2 over 8, which is equal to minus a quarter. Okay, so you get this. So the slope of this point is m, we'll call this m of y is equal to minus a quarter at that point, 2, 1. Right, so just a little bit on what's happening here. Right, so Newton, what he did was, as I've explained with the apple, he now was able to plot all the way along, be able to plot the curve of any point. Okay, and this goes on, and even other curves that connect with it. Okay, so you're asking yourself, well, what's this got to do with me, or how does this affect my life? Well, it does really when you're flying in an airplane. Okay, when you're going that way and there's something coming along your direction, and they're able to tell by calculus the speed and the direction it's going, which is the velocity, and because of their maths, they're able to avoid an air accident. Okay. There's also to do with predicting weather movements. These are all just tell you what, and also financial statistics. Financial statistics or financial markets, they tell you the flow. The flow is equal to the slope. So they're able to predict through slopes where people are going to invest their money. This sort of thing. So it's really a kind of a predictional formula. It's also used in permutations as well. So it's used as a prediction, okay, of something that is traveling in space at a certain distance, at a certain time, and with a certain velocity or direction. Okay, now anything else to add to that? Nothing else? So now we have 3 ways to find the slope. Okay, and we can get the formula, we can use calculus to find it, and we can manipulate the formula of y is equal to mx plus c. Now in these questions here, you've got y is equal to 5x squared minus 9. So differentiate the following with respect to x, find the slope when x is equal to 1. So you get the derivative. So if you've got a derivative out here, you've got a third x here. So we'll just pick one. So this is y, dy that we'll have to, y is equal to 7x squared minus 3 times x to the power of minus 1. Do you see what I'm doing here? So dy, I must bring everything up. dx is equal to 14x minus 1 is going to be minus 3 times minus 1 times x is all plus 1. Reduce the power by 1. So that's the power of 0. Okay, so you see what's happening here. So it's 14x. Anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1 plus 3. Okay, so you see now I'm messing with this, but I know that this is going to reduce down to 0. Anything to the power of it, if I have x, 4x, and I'm deriving that, it just becomes 4. Okay, but I'm showing you the proof. Now, so you're putting in your points, so x is equal to 1, you put in your point to the slope formula, and you get out a slope when you derive these. Okay, now look at this 22. Y is equal to 1 a third times x cubed, x squared over 2 minus 6x. There's no real problems. 1 over x squared is equal to x to the power minus 2. These are all in the same rules page. In series 1 is algebra. Okay, so that's everything. Do those questions, and thank you.